It's a pretty chill, laid back kind of day today. I feel like I'm so drained and I'm so ready to just wind down. Who winds down at 2 p.m.? Anyways, today I'm gonna talk about the books that I read in the past 2 weeks. So I went on like a mystery with a romantic subplot phase. I'm gonna share to you a few books. Some are in a historical setting and some are in a contemporary, I guess, setting. Okay, so actually around February or early March, I went on a mystery with a romantic subplot phase for a week. And I'm gonna share to you the books that I read that time. So this honestly started when I read the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. So I talked about that in my Academic Rivals to Lovers video. This series consists of 4 books. So you have Stalking Jack the Ripper, Hunting Prince Dracula, Escaping from Houdini, and Capturing the Devil. And after that, I read These Shallow Graves. So I love this one. This is a short book. It's also a kind of historical setting, but it's not that old. And this is kind of YA, and I just appreciated the writing here. So I gave this book 3.2 stars out of 5. And I love the romance. I also love the ending. Although I wished we had an epilogue of some sort or a second book or anything that would give me more of Joe and Eddie, or like that informs me what happens to them afterwards. So I really wish that there's some continuation for this one. And next is the Diviner series. So the Diviner series, it's kind of mystery. There's a romantic subplot in here because this is like an ensemble. So there's like a friend group and then you explore that. This consists of 4 books again. So you have the Diviners, you have the Lair of Dreams, and then Before the Devil Breaks You, and the King of Crows. So this one, it has a fantasy element into it because they have superpowers. But yeah, it still fits the bill of mystery with romantic subplot. I enjoyed this following Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and honestly, I got scared reading this at night. So the mystery or the thriller aspect is there. This one is, I guess, a bit more edgy compared to Stalking Jack the Ripper and the Shallow Graves, and yeah, a bit more mature on on that side. And I love the characters here. I enjoyed their differences, their quirks, their uniqueness, but I did not like Evie and that big dude, Jeremy. I don't know. I don't even remember his name. But I loved everybody else. I loved Sam. I loved Theta. I loved Memphis. I loved Henry and Ling. I gave the Diviners, or the first book, a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, that does not sound great. The Lair of Dreams, I gave 2.5 stars. Before the Devil Breaks You, I gave 3.5 stars. And The King of Crows, 4 out of 5 stars. So it's honestly a wonder why I kept going. But as you can see, that in the end, the story progresses and it does get better in my opinion. So I didn't regret reading it. I just wish that Evie wasn't annoying. Anyways. Now onto the actual books that I read in the past 2 weeks. So we're starting with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So this is a trilogy. And this starts with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then Good Girl, Bad Blood, and then lastly, and the thickest book amongst the series, is the As Good as Dead. And I enjoyed this. This got dark. In the end, it got real dark. More darker and edgier than what I'm used to with young adult books. And I love that. If I view it as a whole, I think I'd give it a solid 4. To be really honest, I did not like the progression or the transition from book 2 to book 3. I enjoyed the stories separately, but how things escalated, it felt uncomfortable and it wasn't a good transition. I enjoyed the first book. I enjoyed how she uncovered and how she solved the plot. It's very, very good. The second book, I liked, but I didn't like the ending. Honestly, with the third book, Ravi was the only reason I finished it. And the plot was different because I thought this was young adult, so it wouldn't get dark, but it got quite dark and unhinged. But the unhingedness or the dysfunctional aspect felt so accelerated that the progression wasn't transitioned well. Like, that's what I felt while reading it. And so I got annoyed at Pip, like, three-fourths of the book. I got annoyed at Pip. And also the resolution felt crammed again. Like, how everything just, like, happened with the abduction and all those things. So I didn't like also just the cutting off of relationships in the end. You'll understand it if you read this. I understand why she did it. It's just that it felt unnecessary. Like, it felt like she just wanted to add drama into it. Yeah, it was a bit dreading to read the third book, but I did enjoy the first and second books. With the third book, I didn't like the transition. And for me, that's important because I read the Inheritance Games trilogy back in January, and that one, it was perfect. Like, the transition book 1 to book 3, everything, how they uncovered the mysteries, how the books transition from one book to another, one story to another, it was so good. And the resolution was really good. Everything about that series is so good. I love them. I love them so much. I had so much expectations into it, and I thought that I would cruise through this series as quickly as the Inheritance Games, but it took me so long to finish this. And I don't know if it's because I'm in a slump, or I didn't like the story, it didn't vibe well with me, or yeah, somewhere along those lines, probably. Okay, so now let's go to, this is one of the books that I bought in Japan. Safe to say I loved it. I want to explore more of this author's books. And this is Salvation of a Saint by Keigo Higashino. And I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really, really fun read, though I didn't expect the plot to turn out that way. Like, it basically gives the ending. Yeah, I genuinely wish, like, better for the women in this book, because the guy here, the victim, is such a douche, guys. He's such an ass. He's so bad, and I feel like it's really ingrained in from the Japanese stuff that I read, either manga or books, that Japanese men, whether you're like good looking or not, whether you treat women with respect or not, you're still like sought after. Like, yeah, for some reason, or am I just reading like horrible books? But I love this book. I love the story. I just didn't like the victim. The victim's name is Yoshitaka. I did not sympathize at all with him. Like, I just enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the uncovering of the mystery. I enjoyed how the murder happened. And I also enjoyed the uncovering of the suspect. And honestly, I couldn't put it down. I finished this book in one sitting. And it's been a while since I've done that. So, I love this. Safe to say, I really, really love this. And I want to read the first book, The Devotion of Suspect X. So, I'm gonna find that. Next is something in a historical setting. So this is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem. I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. The writing was a bit hard to read, but again, I always love a strong female main character. I also love the male main character here. Nothing's more attractive for me than a man who's like already good looking but also like good at what he does and is confident and has like character and respect, all those things. So I really loved Eversham. Eversham's the male character. And, but if I were to describe this in trope, so this is like an enemies to lovers, murder mystery, historical fiction, which are all my favorites, and really fun. Nothing like super angsty, nothing super dark, just light-hearted, quick read. Lastly, I finally read Verity, and I gave this book 1 out of 5 stars. And I've been waiting and I've been wanting to read this book for the longest time, since last year, guys. So when I read it now, I got so frustrated. And sometimes frustration and anger is good. Like, when you pour out and feel so much emotions towards a book and from a book, sometimes that's good because that leaves impact. But this one, I just wanted to throw out. Like, I hated this book. I hated the female character. I hated the male main character. And I just hated it. Like, Verity is the only one I loved here. So, okay. You're entitled to like this book if this is really your vibe. It's just really, 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 really not for me. Like, it was so bad. I will pour out all my emotions in this video. So if you do not want to be spoiled, please just skip this. And here we go. I'm gonna read my thoughts on this. God, this was horrible. Okay, let me calm down and collect my thoughts on this. So dramatic. First off, I didn't like that she was trying too hard to be dark. So this is Lowen. She is the point of view that we're following in this book, and yeah, she was trying too hard. And it felt like Jeremy's the male lead or the male character. It felt like Jeremy and Lowen bonding over their brokenness, so like the debts like surrounding them, was the only cover up for like their adultery or like whatever horniness they're trying to cover up. And also, Jeremy was portrayed as if he was like an angel, the perfect husband, great, perfect, I don't deserve you kind of energy. Holy crap, dude, he's the worst character in this book. Probably worse than Yoshitaka. No, Yoshitaka's like, yeah, probably worse than Yoshitaka, because at least Yoshitaka like tells you. This dude just like freaking pretends to be good. Oh, that's so annoying. Anyways, so he's like the worst character of all here because he jumped to the worst conclusions about his wife. And it's so weird because, when you're with someone for like years and years and even like deciding to marry them, it was so weird how he changed his mind so easily. Like, what kind of husband does that? Like, without even hearing an explanation from his wife. And yeah, basically, this was just really trash, really trash. Like, he didn't even question her. It felt like he didn't even know his wife. And that's weird for me. That's so weird because in the first parts of the book, there was so much build up in their relationship, like how they loved each other, how attracted they were, how obsessed they were with one another. And I'm like, what? And some mania like kind of story pops up in your life, and that's what you believe, compared to the years and years that you've seen your wife work hard and be with you and live with you. Like, the disrespect of not even supporting her work, because it was so weird. That part was so inconsistent because he was the first one that's portrayed to believe in Verity, because Verity is like an author. So this is a book within a book again. But in the latter part of the story, there's a part there wherein Verity like points out that Jeremy doesn't even like her works. Like, ano ba? Like, ang gulo. What? Like, make it make sense, okay? Like, pwede ba? It does not make sense. So, I hated how Lowen was such an easy catch for Jeremy. Like, it made me disrespect her so much. Again, guys, as much as I want to give Aline Hoover books positive reviews, especially regarding her characters, I can't. Currently, I can't. But people say that Reminders of Him is like much better. So, let's see if I pick up another Koho book in the future. But for now, I'm gonna steer clear from her, guys. Steer clear. In less than a month, she met Jeremy, got attracted to Jeremy, then lived with Jeremy and his wife, and got so horny over Jeremy, and banged Jeremy, and got pregnant with Jeremy's baby. I'm like, girl, while he was still married, while the dude was still married, and Verity was in that same house, hearing Jeremy and Lowen having sex, guys, in just the next room, and I'm like, oh my god, I hate this book. I hate this book so much. And not only that, okay, Verity was sick, or pretending to be sick, so still, that's messed up, man. He doesn't know she's pretending to be sick, and she's banging another girl, like, while his wife was in bed, supposedly in a coma. Like, my gosh, this dude's horrible. So, and honestly, what annoyed me, or what made me so mad about Lowen, was she was so self-righteous. She felt like she could be better than Verity. Honestly, it made me think that Lowen thinks that she can better love Verity's children more than Verity, more than the woman who bore those kids for 9 months in her belly, she thinks that she can love them better. The audacity this girl has, oh my gosh. Because of some manuscript she read, because of some story she heard, she wasn't even there. She didn't even think to confirm the story that she was reading, the manuscript that she was reading. Like, both of them, both Jeremy and her, like, what kind of idiots are you? Like, my goodness. And did you not even question its reality? Like, are you not a writer? It felt like everything that they were doing honestly just justified, like how horny they both were, like how thirsty they both were. This is what I said last. So I really pitied Verity and Crew. So Crew is the youngest kid that Jeremy and Verity has or have, and Verity and Crew, they deserved better, and it's so sad that the ending turned out to be like that. And man, if that happens in real life, that's so messed up, and I feel so bad for the kid. I feel so bad for women also, for women being wronged, for women just oh my gosh, just feel so bad. Also the ending, like, oh my god, oh my god. I know I said Jeremy was the worst, but honestly the ending made it seem like Jeremy and Lowen, they deserved each other, and they deserve the worst. This is not the most loving thing to say, but there's just they're just the worst. They're just the worst. They have the worst character, worst personalities. They're just the worst. And honestly, I would have appreciated it if this is how she really wanted it to turn out. Like the audience feeling bad, or the audience feeling so frustrated and angry with Lowen and Jeremy and with the injustice that they induced. Someone commented on Reddit, and when I read that comment, that just encapsulated my thoughts. Okay, so this is what it says. So this is Taylor Abyss, and this is what he or she says. So I know I'm in the minority, but I want to believe Verity for one reason, and one reason only. I think Verity being innocent makes for a darker story. Imagine being a good person, a good mother. You lose two of your daughters, and you use your twisted diary to cope. Your husband finds it, doesn't give you a chance to explain, just tries to kill you. And then him and his little girlfriend both kill you when you never had the chance to explain yourself. I don't know. I feel like we read true crime stuff. Listen to I feel like we read true crime stuff, listen to podcasts, and we know about sociopaths and psychopaths, and unfortunately, people do kill their kids. But for a mother not to kill her children and her husband believing a fiction manuscript over his own wife, that's dark. I have other reasons I don't have the spoons to get into, mainly revolving around how I don't trust Jeremy at all, and I hate Lowen's character with a passion. Same. You're not alone. I believe they're the true monsters, not the perfectly curated villain. I agree. Same again. I agree. Oh my gosh. I totally get the other side of it. And if the author confirmed Verity was a monster, I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't argue it. I just like to think that Jeremy and Lowen murdered an innocent woman, they themselves becoming the monster they feared. I honestly felt bad for Verity. I believe in Verity, guys. So, I don't know. I don't get why that's the minority, but I think that's just the beauty of also the complexity of how the human mind works and how we relate differently to characters that we read. So it was interesting. Very interesting experience. Did I enjoy it? I'm not sure. But with the rage and the weirdness of emotions that I had, I think it definitely left an impact. So yeah, I think that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I think I will explore more thriller or mystery books. I don't think that I can read horror books yet, but we'll see. And yeah, if you have any recommendations, mysteries with a romantic subplot, please leave them below, and I'll see you again in the next vlog. Goodbye!